What's up, everybody? We are back at Around the Mat Pod. I am your host, PJ North. We got a lot to talk about. Wrestling is a buzz today. It's kind of wild out there. But before we get to it, if you're listening live on YouTube, watching live with us, please hit that like and subscribe button. That helps us out. Let us know that you're digging it. Comment in the chat bleachers. They are open. We want to know your thoughts. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, don't forget to leave us a review and hit that follow button there. And don't forget to follow us on all social media at AroundTheMatPod. We're everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things. We're super active on Twitter. Obviously, I go through a lot of my wrestling news there. So join us live for all those things. So don't forget to hit that follow button. And I guess let's get into it. We are back with the big homie. TY, what's good, baby?
PJ, what's going on, man? We got Memorial Day weekend coming up, 2 big wrestling events. Buddies here local, they're getting their thing started this weekend, so I'm pumped up.
Sick. Are you going to their show?
Yes, sir.
Let's give it a little plug. What is it?
POR Wrestling. Probably want to be 18 or older to check it out on YouTube.
We got a little deathmatch action?
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm definitely pumped up for it.
All right, so it's POR Wrestling?
Yes, sir.
Let me look it up here. We're gonna pull it up live.
Jim Cornette trashes them all the time, man.
This is a real thing, huh? Oh, Vice. This says Vice even covered POR Wrestling at some point.
Yeah, they were out there shooting a documentary. I think it was last year, possibly the year before.
Okay. Wow, so this is like full on deathmatch shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like deathmatch and stunts like combined.
That's what it says. It says the world's most dangerous stunt group.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jackass meets wrestling.
Okay, and this is your jam, huh?
Backyarders.
This is your thing. Okay. They've been seen on Ridiculousness, True TV, Tosh.0, Netflix, Vice, and the ICP stuff. So pretty wild. So what day is this?
On Sunday. So hopefully gonna catch that before Double or Nothing.
Okay, this is wild. Oh yeah, they're doing some crazy shit here. This is not for me. But I love that for you. Hey, look, wrestling is universal, my guy. So yeah, I love that you're digging it. That's cool, man.
There's something for everybody.
POR Wrestling live this Sunday in Virginia. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, wrestling is a buzz. Today, just utter chaos. So let's kick it off here. Let me load the timer up, and let's talk about WrestleMania is leaving New Orleans. And supposedly, depending on who you believe, it's utter chaos. I'm going to kick it to you, man. What are your thoughts? Do you care? Does it matter? What are your thoughts about WrestleMania not going to New Orleans now?
Man, I at first I didn't buy it. I was talking to my brother a little bit earlier, and he was mentioning something about it. I'm like, man, that's bullshit. There's no way that they're already backtracking, and they just announced it, what was it, 3 or 4 months ago? And
not
it also
even
kind of
3 or 4 months ago. It was just in New Orleans before WrestleMania.
Yeah, and it also makes me kind of wonder. It's like, was it something to bring The Rock on TV? Because they made that huge announcement with him there, all the pyro.
Yeah.
And it also makes me really wonder, like, did somebody outbid New Orleans? Are they gonna do this for a cash grab to make more money? Which we both know they don't need any more. Of course, it's always nice to have, but
sure.
I'm just like,
when is enough, right?
Yeah, exactly. And at this point, why announce something too early if everything wasn't set in stone?
Sure.
And I'm really curious to see where they do announce it, if it's going to be something international. Because New Orleans is a pretty hot spot, so I don't see why they wouldn't want to have it there.
Yeah, great points. I'll say this. I don't believe, obviously, the dirt sheets. I think they're all jerk-offs, right? So, I do find it amusing. And our group chat had a full-on crash out. I mean, at one point, there's like 200 messages I missed. And shout out to our guy, friend of the pod, Fred. He had a full-on meltdown about it.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
He is furious. Obviously, right, there's rumblings that it's London. There's rumblings that it's Saudi. There's rumblings that it's Vegas again. Here's my thought, man. I don't give a shit. Wherever they're going to put it, cool, man. I would like to go. Again, obviously this year I had to miss, but like I would like to go, but I mean, I can't envision going and paying the prices that my friends paid this year. It's outrageous. I'm out on that, dude. I'm not going to sit in the nosebleed. You can't see shit. Like there's not an experience to be had that high up. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man.
At that point, you're just watching it on a bigger TV than what you have at home. So,
exactly.
Yeah, and you get to hear the loud music. Of course, you're going to experience the pyro, but to me, $1,000 just isn't worth that.
Right. Yeah, man. So that's where I don't know. I'm a little lost. But do I care that it's not New Orleans? I do not care. Do I think that it should go to Saudi? No. Do I think London might deserve it? Look, man, WWE does not like the fact that look, and all the numbers, whenever they give attendance numbers, are all bullshit too, so that doesn't matter. But WWE does not like that AEW has a higher number at Wembley than they do. So I venture to guess that they might try that. That might play into it. But going back to Vegas would be wild if they just went back. Yeah. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, okay, cool, man. I love Vegas. So, like, sick, whatever. But like I said, I can't imagine paying what I paid, what they paid this year. So I'd be interested to find out how it goes. But, yeah, man, there was full-on crash outs on the internet. I mean, everybody crashing out on the internet. And then it just like, when the dirt sheets are the reasonable human beings on the internet, that's how you know we've hit rock bottom, right? So,
honestly, dude, I think personally the international crowd, I think if it went to London, I think that would be okay because
electric.
Yeah, and I think it gives a lot of those European fans who've been showing up the past few tours that chance to travel there and catch the show versus flying overseas. That much more expense.
1,000%. I think London would deserve it, so I think that would be cool too. I think a WrestleMania in London would be electric too. I can't even imagine what that would look like. However, I will say that the indie thing might be a little different because obviously you can't have certain indie stuff, like you can't work for there, and if you don't have a work visa, like there's some shit that goes on with that deal. So like
the full WrestleMania week,
like that full shit. Like I don't know if you could have that. So that would be interesting to see. I mean, I'm sure there's workarounds and everybody's bootlegging it, whatever, making it work. But just an interesting kind of takeaway. Wild. So that happened today. I thought we would talk about that first. Pretty wild. Here's my question for you. Where's like your ultimate place for a WrestleMania that you would want it to be next year, that you would go to?
That's tough for me. Honestly, I would like to see a big event, even though it's really close to me, like in DC somewhere. I think it would be really cool for them to like center it around like, nation's capital and just not like a Great American Bash type of city where you need have an event like that. And
FedEx Field, is it still called FedEx Field? What's the football?
It is, yeah. They're actually getting a new stadium soon.
That's right.
So I figure it'll probably only be a matter of time, until they hit all the new spots.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm still holding out for Nashville. I think that would be a cool ass WrestleMania. Be interested to see if that happens. I don't know. They keep talking to you. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, we're a huge market, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Up next, this is, I called it Zoe Stark injury, but it's kind of injuries in general. But Zoe Stark's injury was pretty gruesome on Monday Night Raw. It looked terrible, too, like when you saw the frame by frame. Obviously, there's a million people posting the frame by frame stuff. But it just reminds me of, like, how dangerous wrestling is and, like, when you don't get hurt doing the other shit. And then, like, damn, she got hurt doing, like, something she always does. The missile drop kick. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to me. But my thought was, what's the sickest injury that you've seen? And obviously, thoughts go out to Zoe. Hopefully she's, recovers well, because I know, knee injuries are obviously tough and all that stuff. But and there's been reports that it's way worse than they thought too. So, but have you seen any injuries where, like, were you watching WCW when Sid got hurt?
Yeah, dude, that is pretty much the one that comes to mind when you talk about real nasty injuries like that.
Yeah.
And when you talk about injuries in wrestling, when you're talking to somebody who really isn't into wrestling like that, I feel like that's the one that comes to mind. Like, look at it.
1,000%, dude. It's disgusting, terrible. I would say that one, or when New Jack tried to kill Vic Grimes. One of those two is probably the worst ones I've seen. Because I had that DVD where he tried to kill Vic Grimes. So,
dude, that's another guy, man. Like, of course, we just spoke about, like, I'm super big into the hardcore deathmatch stuff. New Jack seemed like he was out there trying to legitimately kill and hurt people.
Yeah, New Jack was wild, but it was about the vibe, man. The music was playing in the background. It was crazy, dude. The ECW, what a time. Excuse me. Oh, man. The ECW stuff was such a crazy time that, like, everything they was doing, and you just didn't think about it. Obviously, I didn't know about the mass transit thing when I was a kid. Like, you didn't learn about that till way later. So, like, I don't even know what to expect. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know about it. And then, so, like, injury thing, that's why I thought this was just so pertinent, because it was like, damn, that's such a shitty, like, that injury had to have been, like, I don't know what she's going to do. I mean, she's hurt now for the next 8 months, maybe 6 months. Whatever. And just look at Sid. Sid had to disappear from wrestling for a while. I mean, obviously.
And the funny thing is that you mentioned that you do see a lot more injuries on the simple stuff, the stuff that's being repeated over and over.
Stuff that you always do. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's the stuff they're getting injured on, and not the 450 flips or the the crazy
not the
spot.
table spot or the ladder spear or the jumping off a 40-foot ladder through window pane glass. Like, what? Oh man, it's crazy. But he breaks his ankle doing like a coffin drop or something. It's wild. Yeah, pretty crazy.
Ran over by a bus. I mean, like, what is that?
Oh, funny, Darby Allin. All right, last headline. AEW is booming. I thought last night, I wanted to talk about, obviously we're going to talk about Double or Nothing, but I just think that AEW right now is really streaking, and TNA is getting progressively worse. They're losing wrestlers. NXT has gotten, I wouldn't say, it's not bad. I still obviously watch it, but like, it's not as good as it's not on as good of a streak as it was. And AEW is absolutely hammering it. So, the headline for me is really like, AEW is back to being 1A, right? As far as like major leagues, like in my opinion, they're selling, they're having great arenas, they're doing cool shit. The storylines make sense. There's not a bunch of like superfluous bullshit that sucks. You know what I mean? Like, there's obviously, we can nitpick everything, but like overarching, it's really, really good right now. And I think that they've, like I said, struck while the iron's hot, because they've surpassed. Again, there was a time earlier where I said, like, if TNA had a TV contract, they might be better than AEW at a point, because AEW is putting out some driveling shit. But right now, man, AEW's booming. What say you, man? Did you watch Dynamite last night? I mean, just to highlight Dynamite alone, Ospreay and Hangman was worth the money. And then I normally hate 6-man tags. I hate them. Last night, I thought that was very like WWE-esque. 6-man tag that they did right after the very first match with Samoa Joe and all those guys. I was like, man, this is a very WWE, like, let's put all of our stars in the ring main event type thing. And I thought that was really awesome. I don't know. I just think it's really booming right now. What about you?
Yeah, man, I think to say AEW is booming is, I think, an understatement, especially after last night's Dynamite. To kick off the show, I think that was one of the best opening segments I've seen in wrestling.
That segment, not to cut you off, was 20 minutes long. When's the last time you saw a 20-minute talking opener that was that good? Normally, like, the talking openers are good, but they, like, by the end of it, you're like, all right, dude, let's fucking go. I felt like it just got better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else I wanted to point out, too, man, is that jersey that Ospreay was wearing, as soon as that drops,
bro, fire. That was a hammer. Yeah, that was a hammer shirt.
But the whole show, as far as like a go home show, I feel like that's what last night was, all the way up into the main event where they had the women in there.
Dude.
And I think they're hitting hard on the way to Double or Nothing, and even leading into the summer with All In, they're definitely heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I think everything they're doing is really good. Like, I texted in the chat, they even made Dustin Rhodes not boring. His promo is so passionate that when he stumbles or when he says dumb shit, you're kind of like, all right, I still get it. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, damn, even last night that was good. The MJF stuff, is great with the Hurt Syndicate. I just think, I don't know, man. I just really enjoy what they're doing right now. from that
And
perspective.
it's even for me like Dynamite's starting to like really flow very well as a full show.
Exactly. Yes.
And,
It used to be like start and stop type shit.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm watching the whole show. Excited throughout the whole thing, really drawn in,
Yeah.
from the little stuff to the main event stuff, from 8 to 10 o'clock.
Yeah, my only thing is that I think they've got to separate Ring of Honor from from the stuff. I don't really love that convoluted mess. But we'll see what happens there. But yeah, man, AEW on an absolute heater, and Dynamite last night was just top tier. I did think it was hilarious that Okada got announced he's going to fight Speedball, and he was like, he was going to do the bitch thing, right? And he stops himself from doing it. I was like, yeah, he gets it. I think that they're like, and obviously he's, one of my favorite wrestlers. So like, I'm going to like, but I think he's done a really, really great job adjusting with what he's been given. And I think they've done that with a lot of people. I still believe the Callis family should be like running roughshod over everybody, and so should the Hurt Syndicate. But, there's obviously nitpicky things. Like I said, we're being nitpicky at that point, but I just think it's really great right now. And I think Raw, so the reason I said this is booming. I thought Raw was actually really good. There was a lot of wrestling, and I enjoy that shit. So for me, I enjoy that part of it. And so I was glad that we're seeing that comparably between the two. So we'll see what happens, man. Double or nothing. We're gonna do some pick'em when we get there. So excited to talk all about it. But with that being said, we have got Saturday night's main event coming live from somewhere in America on Saturday night. Is it coming Tampa?
I think so.
I can't keep track anymore. But with that, we're going to do a little live pick'em. So let's knock it out here. First match, Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. Who you got?
Oh man, I think Jey Uso is gonna win. Man, I'm really not too excited to see it. I guess I'm kind of interested on how they'll end up playing out the finish of it. But I don't think they put a world heavyweight title on Logan yet. Is he ready for it? Possibly, sure. But I don't think they do it quite yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jey Uso, by way of interference or something like that. I don't think he gets a clean win because I think they're protecting Logan, but I'm not 100% certain. But I think in my sense of, again, I think Logan Paul sucks, man. He's fine in the ring, and everybody could say his in-ring is great and all that stuff. That's not the point. He's unwatchable. He's not good enough in the ring that makes me okay with his shit promo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's
I
such
feel
a
like for
fucking
me, I feel
cornball.
like, especially for like his mic skills and all that, I feel like he's just one step away from turning that corner and being able to like really get it.
Yeah.
I do understand and feel you. Like he does feel like he's talking in like an acting voice, and
Yeah, I don't
feel
think
like
I'm ever gonna like him.
And I feel like once he gets over that, if he does get over that, I think a lot of fans will be drawn back towards him.
Sure. Well, I guess we'll find out. That's
possibly.
That's the first match. All right, I have picked Jey Uso, and I'm giving it 1 point for the pool. All right, up next, John Cena versus R-Truth, which I am just very excited for. What do you got there?
Definitely, obviously, Cena.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see.
I don't think it's for the title.
I'm pretty sure that it is.
So is it for the title? I'm gonna look it up.
I could be wrong, but I think I saw a graphic that said for the WWE Championship.
Okay. Well, now I've done messed this thing up. Now let's see. All right, go ahead. Give me why you think. Obviously, I think Cena's gonna win too. But
yeah. But I mean, I do think with all the stuff that has played out with Truth over the years, and him talking up Cena and Cena being his childhood hero, I do think that it was probably Cena's idea to give him that match.
Yeah.
I feel like they've done a pretty good
here it says. Sorry, Cena is not on the title's not on the line.
Non-title match, okay.
Which makes me think. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was train of thought. I think Cody returns and costs Cena the win.
And costs Cena?
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
What else is there to be excited about for Saturday night's main event? Obviously, it's exciting in general just because it's old school Saturday night's main event style. But
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, why not?
Yeah, and I do feel like as the world champion on the last run, I do feel like he would be putting his title on the line in every match up until he does lose it.
Yeah.
And could be a reason that he doesn't have the title on the line. He could get costed could get costed by Cody.
That's fair.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just think that's an opportunity to happen. Honestly, man, I think that's an opportunity that might happen. I do think it would be cool if they do something. Like I said, I just think R-Truth is. I don't know that he wins, but it would just be cool if something happens. I said, I don't think this is very old school Saturday night's main event in the sense of like that you're just kind of excited for the matches. It's not like you're expecting anything crazy to happen. It's very like down the middle thing. Like if you watch old school Saturday night's main events like I do, this is what you're expecting. Randomly, Hulk Hogan would just be in the middle of the fucking event for no reason. Just be wrestling in the middle. You're just like, all right, cool, sick, bro. So I don't know, man. I thought that might be a neat something cool. Okay. Let's see. Moving on. Tag match. CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I am going to go Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I think Sami turns.
Yeah, I feel like they have been kind of teasing that a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I've said it a few times on here that, I feel like Sami Zayn could use a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
And definitely a good reboot with them and, put them back with Heyman. One of the best minds in wrestling and continue to build that faction and that stable. And I do feel like that's, of course we got the Judgment Day, but I do feel like that's something that WWE's been missing for a little bit is, of course, Bloodline too. But, a good faction, similar to how Rollins and them seem to be leading and building it at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. I think it would just be a cool change of pace again for Sammy, like you said, maybe a mix up for him. I don't know that I loved him as a heel because he was a shit heel. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like a he wasn't like a strong heel. He was booked as a shit heel. You know what I mean? The cornball gimmick and all that stuff. Bloodline. No, the Bloodline heel was fine. The one where he played like the he wore like the drab clothes. It was almost like he was a communist.
Okay,
he wore like the weird painter's hat and all the shit. Yeah, that was a cornball gimmick. When he was IC champ way back when. So I don't know, but yeah, it could be cool. We'll see what happens there. I think it'll be a good match because I think what they're doing right now with that, with Seth. Do you
feel like Sami would be the best one to join that group, or do you feel like there's anybody?
There's a
else?
ton of young guys that they could use it. There's a ton of young guys that could use it.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like, maybe do the maybe go the Evolution route and pull one of the younger guys and lift them up like they did Batista and Randy Orton.
I think that they need a tag team. I think Braun needs a tag team partner, and they need to win the tag titles and the heavyweight title. I always think that makes the most sense for factions, like in my opinion. But they have a heel tag team already as champs, so I don't know. I don't know how they get there. I do think sorry, I'm dying today. I do think Carmelo Hayes would be cool. I do think they have a ton of young guys in NXT that would be good. That probably should have been called up and probably should have done stuff with. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know that Rusev should have came back. I think that they have so many more guys in NXT who are better. So, like, there's just an infinite number of opportunities that they could have done, I feel like, on that to pull into Seth and Braun's thing. But
yeah, dude, it's funny you mentioned the Rusev because I was watching his segment the other night on Raw, and I was like, man, it really feels like they just copied and pasted what was going on in AEW.
Dude, 1,000. Look, man, they're not. Everyone's acting like everybody has these original ideas. None of this shit's original, just to be clear with everybody. None of this shit is original. It's all taken from some form of wrestling that's been going on for 80. Every time I think I see something for the first time, I see a clip online from 91 where all of a sudden they've been doing that. I'm like, well, shit, I didn't even know that existed. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like,
dude. When I go back and watch a lot of old stuff, I'm like, shit, dude. This is where a lot,
yeah,
something I was watching in ECW. Some of the old stuff. I was like, man, that's where Tony Khan got this, and all the stuff's been done,
yeah.
and that's why when
It's
you
all
do
the
feel
same
like
shit, right?
when you feel like you see something new, or you have to actually like really, really dig to go back and find where somebody else has done it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when it really draws
And
you
I'm
in.
still cool with it. Like, it doesn't bother me that the shit's redone. I don't really care, but I do find it hilarious right now that they're using a lot of AEW guys, and no one's like really criticizing that. Like, obviously there's the AEW neckbeards, but the WWE neckbeards acting like they don't see it is hilarious because they say the same thing when those guys go to AEW. So I'm like,
Yeah.
are y'all both blind, or are none of y'all watching any of the shows? Because I think that's what it boils down to, is I just don't think any of these people are actually watching any of the shows.
Yeah, and that's funny you mentioned that, because it really does seem like WWE is shining a very bright spotlight on those guys that are coming over from AEW.
Brother, Cody Rhodes started the company. He is the number one guy in WWE right now. There ain't no hiding this shit, okay? Ricky Saints, Ego, Miro, Aleister Black is all of a sudden back. Like, look, come on. Call a spade here, guys.
Aleister Black is back like he never left, too. Same entrance, same everything.
No, dude. He's like... And he's still not entertaining.
Yeah, same. I agree wholeheartedly with that.
All right. Last match here. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a steel cage. Who you got?
I really haven't been keeping up with a lot of what they've had going on.
Be honest, same.
I'd like to see McIntyre, ever since, he had that feud with Punk, that's kind of made me, more so a McIntyre fan than what I was.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with McIntyre. I don't know if he takes it, but
I'm going McIntyre too, man. I'm going McIntyre too. I agree. All right, here's going to be the one that makes or breaks the show. What match will kick off the show?
That's tough.
I think it's going to be steel cage.
Man, yeah, I don't think the cage would.
I just don't think that story's deep enough. I think the tag match is the headliner.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do think the tag match would be the main event. Maybe Jey Uso and Logan Paul.
Yeah, but damn, dude, you're going to put your world champion out there first again?
Get the crowd into it, man. They'll be yeeting for 20 minutes.
I mean, there'll be 30 minutes in between matches anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm debating on that one. I may look around on the interwebs to see who's going to kick the show off before I hit submit.
Absolutely. And man, speaking of yeeting, what are your whole thoughts on Jey Uso starting it back up in the ring during the entrance where the musical cut off and then he does it again, and I'm just like,
dude,
man.
I'll be honest with you. The WWE production right now, where it's 30 minutes in between matches, is not for me. It's cool. Yeah. I get it. Your entrance is over, but like, I don't know. It's a little too much for me. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely way too much. And I do agree with the like segments in between and the time in between.
Yeah.
And I do feel like when the time that they spend on stuff in between, I feel like a lot of times they focus too much on one thing. Whereas if they switched it up a little bit, I don't need to see a 10-minute Judgment Day segment, back in their clubhouse or whatever.
Yeah. See, I don't mind the segments. I'm cool with that, but that's all it should be. Why do we get segment, video, 40-minute entrance, then maybe a match? Like, why do we get all that?
Yeah, you got to throw the ad in there too. You got to get that promo money. But yeah, I certainly agree.
Yeah, dude, that shit's annoying as hell. I don't know, dude. There's a lot of that's kind of making me angry, but not really angry. But it just makes it hard to watch.
Yeah, and Triple H is definitely, checking things online, has people looking online, and they got to know that, people are not upset, like, or people are upset.
Dude, 1,000%.
They're paying this type of money and they're getting, maybe an hour of show and then the rest of, promos.
How would you like being there?
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, fuck, man, that's crazy. I don't know, dude. It's an interesting take too, because WWE is like, they're getting enough money, right? Like, do they have to do every? God dang!
Yeah.
And I know it's hot again.
Just sponsored now.
Yeah, strike while the iron's hot. I get it, but it's also annoying as shit from a viewer's perspective. But do they really even care about the viewer? Like, realistically, do they care about the hardcore viewer? I don't know that they really do.
No.
I don't know that they have to either. I'm not asking them to. I understand. I'm not. I'm one of whatever, but. I don't know. It just feels
as much as like, egotistical and like as Vince was, it never really seemed as bad as like what it does now. It
Nick
seems
Khan
really...
and Ari and all those guys. Yeah, dude, those guys are money hungry, greedy, terrible human beings. In the sense of like all they care about is the dollar, and I get it. They've got shareholders and everybody's eating, but like, at what point is it too much? Like, that's not why we like WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like at the rate that they're going, do you ever think, 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 years that they outprice themselves and they start to see a decline?
You would think so, but the NFL hasn't done it yet.
That's true.
And it's like, but they're not the only show in town. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's annoying as shit. That part gets me so frustrated as a fan because it's like, look, this sucks.
Something I was also thinking about was, checking out tickets to go to All In, man. We can $200, $250, $300, for a damn good
dude.
seat.
Yeah.
And you're not even getting in the door, for that at a WWE pay-per-view.
And we're getting 9 matches. We're getting 9 matches and none of the bullshit.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know. For me, it just seems like a better deal. Again, that's a song for another time, right, as they say. Saturday night's main event, though. It's going to be a fun weekend of wrestling, man. I'm excited. I got wrestling, racing, maybe cooking out on Monday, so all things are a go. All right, let's get into AEW. We're not going to talk about all the matches, but we're going to talk about, well, I guess we'll probably just pick all of them. There's not that many this time. We're lucky. There's not a ton. We're going to kick it off.
How further on the full card?
There's 8, which is pretty good for them because they're all good. They're all good matches.
Yeah.
Jamie Hayter, Mercedes Moné for the 2025 Owen Hart Women's Cup. Who you got?
I think Mercedes takes it. I kind of seen a path kind of worked out for Mercedes since she lost that title over in Japan. I do see her kind of going on a losing streak and then possibly taking the title from Tony at All In.
Oh, okay. I like that.
To kind of bounce back from because I really don't see them giving her the AEW belt with all the other ones. So I do think that, she might go through a rough patch, lose all the belts, go to All In, and then, eventually get that AEW belt.
Okay. I'm going to go Mercedes just because the winner does get a title shot at All In. So I'm going to go her. I'm going to go Mercedes. Excitable. The Hurt Syndicate versus the Sons of Texas, which I think is just a great name. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. What a waste of a tag team name. It's a great tag team name. Wasted on them too.
Sammy Guevara, is he from Texas? Does anyone know?
Yeah, he's from Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Houston. Sammy Guevara. He's got great entrance music. Yeah, Hurt Syndicate versus Sons of Texas for the tag titles. I'm going Hurt Syndicate. Yeah,
definitely Hurt Syndicate. Like you said earlier, I do think they should keep the ROH stuff kind of separate. If you don't want to, you want to keep some AEW guys in AEW and keep them separate, then kind of be and put them where you want to put them.
Dude, 1,000%.
I definitely think the Hurt Syndicate takes it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they need to stay dominant with MJF as well. So, okay, Timeless Tony Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. Who you got?
Definitely Tony Storm. I think it'll be a super entertaining match. So I'm excited for it, but I think Tony will get her.
Do you think Mariah comes out, or do you think she's gone?
Man, I don't know. And I follow her on Instagram. She's been kind of putting up some weird stuff lately.
Yeah, she knows how to play the internet. She knows how to play the internet like a drum.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder, but, I hope she stays with AEW because I feel like she's really found herself and kind of turned into a star. So I hope that she kind of keeps on that trajectory.
I agree. I'm going to pick Tony Storm as well, but I do think Mariah gets involved. I do love Mina Shirakawa. She's incredible.
Yeah, she's super fun. dude.
Yeah, she's exactly. Her entrance music's cool. Even the other entrance music they played was cool. The new one, and then they went away from it immediately. It was super weird, but I thought it was cool. Okay, this is the only match that I don't understand. I don't think we need on the card. FTR versus Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. I obviously love Nigel, and I love FTR. I don't think they've done a good enough job with this story to really need this. What say you?
I would disagree a little bit. I do like how FTR has been kind of getting up in the face of like Tony Schiavone,
Sure.
but I also really don't like that it kind of played out at the same time as McAfee and Gunther.
That was my point. I was like, do they really need to do this?
Yeah, so it does seem a little copycat type thing. But I do also think it's a good way for FTR to get some more heat.
Yeah, I think FTR is going to win. So I'm with you on that.
Sure.
Here's a fun one. Mark Briscoe, and I also don't think this needs to be on the pay-per-view. Mark Briscoe and Ricochet for a stretcher match. I'm going to go Ricochet.
Yeah, definitely Ricochet. He's on the upwards, and I love a good gimmick match. So I'm kind of excited to see it.
I would love to see Ricochet like work his way up and get a title shot. I'm not saying he has to win, but I would love to see him continue to do what he's doing, because stay on that path and do a great job and get a title shot.
It does seem like he was chasing that international championship when he first got there, and now he's just kind of just lost backstage, making doing different segments.
At
and
least
shit.
I do. Do you like his? I think he's doing a great job. I can't believe I'm saying this, that Ricochet is like a top guy. Like, I can't believe it, honestly.
He to me, I think he's super entertaining. The laugh at first when I heard it, I was like, man, what the hell is that? And then it's grown on me, and I love it. I love it, dude.
Yeah, it's great. I love the bald gimmick thing they do. I just think it's good. I don't know, man. He's really turned his career not around, because he's obviously been into. It's not like he needed that, but he's done a great job becoming like a guy, like a great character work. Okay, here it is. Anarchy in the Arena match. It is the betterment, the good guys versus the Death Riders. Obviously, randomly, Gabe Kidd got involved, but now he's not in the match technically. And Katsuyori Shibata is in the match. So I don't really know how that whole thing worked out, because I thought that was really cool that Gabe Kidd did get involved. Last night, though, that 6-man tag and then brought everybody out was incredible. I thought that was just a great way to build. Like I said, I think they've done a great job. And then Samoa Joe chasing down the Young Bucks at the end of the night randomly, I thought that was fun, too. I don't know. I'm just really excited for this. I don't love Anarchy in the Arena, because I think it's just chaos, and it's like, I get it. It's like, I don't hate it by any stretch. It's very fun. It's just a lot of like very Memphis wrestling thing for me, but I do think that the Death Riders actually go over.
Yeah, dude, I do think that the Death Riders go over, and kind of the same thing. Anarchy in the Arena, that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's utter chaos.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to keep up with stuff. You do get to see some cool spots.
Yep.
But I definitely think the Death Riders are going to take it. And kind of interested to see where they continue to go from here, leading up to All In.
I think at All In, it's going to end. I think we're finally going to see the end at All In.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping so. I mean, it's worked for a little while.
You're right. Yeah.
But I do feel like it's kind of run its course, and I do feel like that they're, Cesar or Castagnoli, I do feel like, he could be doing some better stuff besides being Moxley's lackey.
Yeah.
And same thing with Moxley. I'm kind of tired of the gimmick that he's got going on now, and even Shafir. She could be doing big things as well in the women's division.
She's done a great job as the lackey, but I think it finally ends it All In, and I think Danielson gets involved.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
I think Danielson hits the Busaiku knee, costs Moxley the championship and I do think it's Hangman. I think Hangman potentially wins it. I think it would be cool if it was Ospreay. I think you really want to build this company and start anew. I mean, the smart money would be to put it on Ospreay. That'd be sick. We'll get there, though. Kazuchika Okada versus Speedball. I'm going Okada. I don't think Speedball... Obviously, Speedball might need to win because he's been there, but Okada needs to stay strong because he's fighting Omega, I believe, at All In.
Yeah, dude, I don't think Speedball is going to beat Okada.
Yeah.
I like Speedball, but at the same time, like you said, I do think Okada is going to eventually fight Omega, and I feel like they're just going to continue to build him up until that point.
Yeah, here's to hoping.
Yeah.
Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay. The Willie Goat versus the Cowboy. Who you got?
Man, I think Tony has got a lot invested in Osprey, and like you said, if you want to, kind of lead a company into the future, put it on Osprey. I do think that they will. I think they've kind of held the world title back from him a little bit since he's been there. When everybody knows that he can definitely hold it and carry it for a while.
Yep.
And I think All In is the show he gets it at.
I do too, man. And I think it's very similar to when TNA put the title on AJ Styles. Not to compare the two, obviously, but to compare the two, right? It's one of those things, and I think at All In, I think we're gonna see that. So I'm going. I'm gonna go Ospreay over Hangman.
Yeah, dude. But the stuff Hangman, I mean, every feud and rivalry he's been in has just been phenomenal. And
dude, he's the glue. He's the glue holding AEW together, whether people want to admit that or not.
Yeah, dude. I feel like he just, keeps coming back, time after time, whether, he's on the upper hand or the losing it, and, he kills it every time.
Yeah, I just think he does a great job. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I think that match is going to be a banger, too. I think all these matches look good. I think they've done a good job pacing the pay-per-view. Hopefully it does follow this thing. Like I said, I think they could have done without FTR and Ricochet matches just because they could have been on TV. And then went with 6 matches, and everybody would have been super happy, but I get it. How are you ordering the pay-per-view? They listed yesterday like 7 ways to get it here in the U.S. Yeah. You could get it on Fubo, on YouTube, on Amazon Prime. My understanding is Triller's going out of business, so you might not be able to get them on Sunday. They listed a bunch of ways. How do you order AEW?
If I'm on the road, definitely bootleg it. But typically like Amazon or I've done YouTube as well.
Yeah. I think we'll probably do Amazon this week. All right, it's time for the randomizer. I asked this question to my group chat based on their favorite wrestlers. So, who is your favorite wrestler of all time? Just first, let's start there.
Man, that's tough. I would say probably Sting.
Okay. All right. What would be worse for you? Sting having never existed in WCW as champion, so you only knew him as TNA and WWE Sting, or you have to fly to every wrestling event for the rest of your life.
Well, man, I just saw another article of another plane going down out in San Diego. So
you've got your Google alerts on plane issues?
Absolutely, dude. So yeah, no. Sting can exist in whatever air he needs to be, but my ass is not flying on no plane.
Oh shit, that's a good one. I've asked in the group chat different scenarios for wrestlers. What did I ask earlier? Oh, which is worse? So for Fred, I said, which is worse, Saudi Mania or Taker in AEW? And he said Taker in AEW, he would legit kill him. That would be the end for him. He said he would have a tough time with that. I was like, damn, a Saudi Mania is better than Taker going to AEW. Wild. So then
would Fred go? You think he'd go?
Who?
To a Saudi Mania.
Fred?
Yeah.
Oh, 1,000% he going.
He's going.
Yeah, he gonna find a way. Miguel, I asked, which would be worse, Triple H in AEW or a Mania in Saudi? And he said H in AEW, hands down. So I thought that was pretty crazy, man. That's how deep these guys' hatred goes for AEW. That shows you how biased people are and just like how deep in despair they are. So let me know in the comments who your favorite wrestler is, and I'll ask you a worse scenario, and we'll try to figure it out. I just thought that was a funny one. I wasn't sure who your favorite wrestler of all time was. It's hard for me to narrow down favorite wrestler of all time, too. It is really hard for me because I think I'm more of a group of it, right? I would say if people were to ask me, it was probably Flair or Muta or Okada or Cody. because those are guys that I actually cared when they won the title. Like I didn't know Muda though as a kid. I only learned about him in the 90s. So like I didn't get to see him in NWA. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I didn't get to see that. Flair, I obviously knew him at first from WWE. I was a kid. I was 4 years old when he was in WWE, but I watched that Royal Rumble. I mean, I saw it live as a kid. So like, you know what I mean? It's hard for me. All of my Flair memories are really like I had to go back and learn that I loved Flair. But as a kid, my favorite wrestler was D'Lo Brown. Like when I was like dude, the frog splash chest protector shit. Yeah, I just thought it was the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, a big one for me was super big into him growing up was Batista. I was super big Batista. Yeah.
But it's crazy to think about, man. I love D'Lo. Like I was such a huge fan that when he went to TNA, I was like casually watching their pay-per-view. I wasn't watching every week, but we were watching a lot. But when I knew he was going to be on there, we watched. I was like, oh, he's going to win a title. I've never seen him win a title other than like, oh, he's going to win the world title. So like as a kid, you know what I mean? Like your favorite wrestler, I just had a weird favorite wrestlers. So I always thought it was so funny now, like when people ask that, like, who's your favorite wrestler? I'm like, well, man, I have like a list of them. Honestly, I don't have like the top one is between Muda or Flair or Dusty or Cody or honestly, D'Lo. Like D'Lo was my guy. But
yeah, I feel like that question is really like asking, someone who really likes music, like who's your favorite artist?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You know. Because there's certain you go through certain periods and you know just like anything else in life and you're like, man, this was my guy during this period.
Exactly.
You just can't name one.
Right. So it's very tough, and that's kind of why I thought the randomizer question was pretty funny. Short episode this week. Obviously, I was a little late, and I had some things, but and the Thunder are playing in the playoffs right now. I was at the first Thunder playoff game. When they played the Lakers back when they first moved to OKC. I was a Seattle Sonics fan. So it is very imperative to me that I cheer on the Thunder. So do you have an NBA team? Are you an NBA guy?
Man, it's a sore subject for me. I don't really keep up a lot with NBA, but I am a Mavericks fan.
Okay. So the Luka thing. Ugh, yikes.
Yeah, but I will say that the Lakers losing that was kind of sweet, and I will say that I am rooting for OKC. I think it will be kind of cool for them to finally get one without Durant. I'll
tell you, man, when we didn't beat, I say we when they didn't beat the Heat, that was really I was like, damn, and then we just decimated the roster at that point. I was like, oh no, but Sam Presti. He had it figured out. Somehow we got SGA. We traded away Paul George and got a shit ton of players. And those players turned into Chet Holmgren, Josh Giddey, SGA, Kaysen Wallace, Jalen Williams. We have 2 Jalen Williams also, by the way. It's really crazy to see that. So I'm excited. Not that that's wrestling related, but
I saw something that was kind of interesting today that Charlotte, they actually traded the picks for SGA and also Kobe Bryant. I'm like, man, what a franchise.
Bro, no one is. I would say the Hornets are a top 5 bad franchise in all of sports. The Browns, the Hornets. If the Mavericks wouldn't have won that title a few years ago, they would be up there for sure. If they didn't win one with Nowitzki, they definitely would be up there. They didn't win one with Luka, obviously, but they would be up there as well. There's some bad franchises, but the Hornets are definitely one of those ones. Obviously, the Pirates, the Devil Rays, like there's a bunch that in baseball it's way worse, right? Because they just trade away everybody, and they like try to strike 1 year, and then there's no dynasties in some baseball teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they try to bank on those rookies, man.
Yeah, to ride that horse, the Florida Marlins style. Let's win a bunch and then sell them high. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so we got the Thunder stuff tonight. But big weekend in wrestling, all things considered. A lot going on. So we're excited. We'll be back next week. I think, we will be back next week talking all things wrestling. Obviously, we'll give our grades on the wrestling weekend, and we'll talk more things. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, when we go